Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. We have some huge fight news regarding UFC 274. It's being reported by ESPN that UFC 274, which takes place May 7th in Brazil, will be headlined by Glover Teixeira defending his light heavyweight title against Jiri Prochazka. And I think there's a real chance that the UFC puts an absolutely amazing co-main event on this card. I'm going to talk about that as well as an early prediction a little bit later in the video. But first off, I absolutely love this fight. I am so excited for this fight. Jiri Prochazka is an absolute madman. Glover Teixeira with his career resurgence. I know a lot of people are probably going to be picking Jiri Prochazka in this fight. I think Glover Teixeira has a legitimate chance to absolutely dominate Jiri Prochazka in this fight. A lot of people have counted him out in previous fights, so what's to say he can't prove him wrong again? It's crazy that Jiri Prochazka only has 2 fights in the UFC, and he's already fighting for a title. And not only is nobody complaining, it's a consensus agreement between pretty much all the fans, all the media, and the UFC that Jiri Prochazka deserves this shot. He only has 2 wins. He made his debut on the same card that Usman fought Masvidal the first time, UFC 251, July of 2020. So he hasn't even been in the UFC a full 2 years. He's already competing for the light heavyweight title. He beat Volkan Ozdemir by KO in his debut. And this guy, I knew as soon as I saw him against Volkan Ozdemir, I knew this guy was an absolute savage. What a brutal KO of Volkan Ozdemir. And then even more impressive, in one of my favorite fights of the year, he destroyed Dominic Reyes last year, May of 2021. That brutal spinning back elbow KO. And the fight was amazing up until that point. It was back and forth. Dominic Reyes was landing some good shots. Dominic Reyes was a little bit, I know he was coming off the loss to Jan Blachowicz, but people were thinking, he's really a title contender, considering a lot of people thought that Dominic Reyes defeated John Jones, was the first guy to defeat John Jones. So people were very high on him. And Jiri Prochazka, that's a tough matchup. With Dominic Reyes, his athleticism, his power, the fact that he really pretty much almost beat John Jones in a lot of people's minds. And then Jiri Prochazka went out there and brutally KO'd him and slept him face down with a spectacular spinning back elbow, which was my favorite knockout of 2021. There's no doubt in my mind this guy deserves a shot, and he just looks so impressive. His style is so much fun. I mean, I don't think, there's a couple names when you think of most exciting fighters in the UFC. There's a couple names that come to mind, but I think Jiri Prochazka is right up there. This style is so unique. Keeps the hands down at the waist. He just wades forward and throws huge shots, and he has such a variety of attacks. But he's going to have a tough time coming in against Glover Teixeira. Glover Teixeira, as you guys know, upset Jan Blachowicz at UFC 267 to win the light heavyweight title. Absolutely destroyed him. Submitted him in the second round via rear naked choke. And Glover Teixeira really met no resistance. I personally thought Glover Teixeira was going to lose this fight. I picked Jan Blachowicz to beat him. I thought the power was going to be too much. I thought Jan would be able to stuff the takedowns. But Glover Teixeira met absolutely no resistance from Jan Blachowicz, defeated him, made it look easy, and what a career resurgence. At 42 years old, Glover Teixeira becomes the champion. And what I've mentioned many of times on this channel, the fact that he fought for a belt 7 years apart. He fought for John Jones's belt in 2014. I was actually there live at that event, UFC 172. Then somehow, between trading wins and losses, losing to Phil Davis, losing to Alexander Gustafsson, losing to Corey Anderson, he goes on a 5-fight win streak to get a title shot against Glover Teixeira and wins the belt. Against Jan Blachowicz, and wins the belt when nobody thought he had a chance to win that fight. A lot of people were picking against him. I'm sure there were some people picking Glover Teixeira in that fight, but there wasn't very many. Now he's on a 6-fight win streak. He's 42 years old, and he has to come in and fight an absolute savage in Jiri Prochazka. Can this fight get more exciting? Jiri Prochazka is 29 years old, arguably in the prime of his career. The style is so hard to deal with, but if anybody can deal with the style of Jiri Prochazka, it's Glover Teixeira. We don't know, the fullest extent of the skill set of Jiri Prochazka as far as his takedown defense and his wrestling. It looks decent, but Dominic Reyes was able to take him down after Jiri hurt him in the fight. He was able to control him on the ground for a bit. So Glover Teixeira, I think you could make a case he has some of the best top game in the UFC. He's able to take guys down, control them. He has some nasty ground and pound. Look what he did to Anthony Smith. Absolutely brutalized him in this fight. So I think this fight is super compelling. I think if Jiri Prochazka keeps it on the feet, I think he probably stops Glover. Glover's been rocked so many times, but he's so durable. He survives every time. And, I don't know if one of these times it's going to catch up to him and Glover Teixeira is going to get put out cold. but I love this fight. But if Glover Teixeira can get Jiri Prochazka down, it's not going to be a good night for Jiri Prochazka. If I had to give my early prediction, and again, I reserve my right to change my mind on this prediction. This is such a tough fight to pick. Glover Teixeira is just getting up there in age. He's slower. The hands aren't that good. He's constantly getting rocked in fights. I know he can take Jiri Prochazka down and just bludgeon him on the ground and possibly submit him, because Glover Teixeira has great jiu-jitsu and great submissions as well. But gun to my head, I'm going Jiri Prochazka KO. I'm a big believer in Jiri Prochazka. I know eventually that, those low hands and leaving his chin susceptible and eating shots, eventually is going to catch up to him. But I don't think it happens in this fight. I think he takes the light heavyweight belt from Glover Teixeira. Now, before I end the video, I have a suspicion that the UFC could potentially add a huge co-main event to this card. This card takes place in Brazil, and I wonder, it all depends on the UFC schedule and what they have lined up for UFC 275 and 276 and what their plans are. But I'm wondering if we might get a co-main event of Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje. We know that's the next fight for the lightweight title. And Charles Oliveira, he's the champion. They might want to have him defend down there in Brazil. I think Justin Gaethje has mentioned that he's more than willing to fight Charles Oliveira in Brazil. And the UFC loves putting 2 title fights on top of a card, and I think that would be an absolute insane card. Well worth the now $75 price tag. I would love that fight to be added to the card. I think it's a very good chance that it could be, just to get Charles Oliveira a title defense in Brazil. For me, it's a toss-up of which one of those should be the main event. Honestly, I'm intrigued in both those fights very much. I think Justin Gaethje has a good chance to possibly dethrone Charles Oliveira. But if Charles Oliveira wins and then Islam Makhachev wins his fight against Beneil Dariush, you have that matchup, which is super compelling as well. I would love both of these fights to be on the same card. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Who are you picking? Glover Teixeira, Jiri Prochazka, who wins the light heavyweight title in May? Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching.